In this video, I will talk about 5 tips to success in a nurse practitioner program. Hi, I'm Dr. Miki Miura. I'm a family nurse practitioner based in Hawaii. I'm originally from Japan. I moved to the States at age 25 after building my basic nursing career in Japan. English wasn't my first language growing up, but I was able to graduate as a valedictorian when I finished my nurse practitioner program in Hawaii. I hope this video is helpful for nurse practitioner students, whether you are an international student or not. First tip is about planning. It is extremely important to plan well. Many nurse practitioner students work while they're in the nurse practitioner program and have some other duties on top of that, such as being a parent or a caregiver. I was also working when I was in a nurse practitioner program, and I felt overwhelmed with the number of assignments I had to do while fulfilling my job duties. I completed a master's program, which was my entry nurse practitioner program, and then later a DNP program. And throughout those programs, I gradually figured out how to be successful in planning. The key to be successful in planning is studying syllabus as early as possible. For example, syllabus usually include course schedule. It is very important to study the course schedule as early as possible, especially if you work or have limited time for studying. I'd recommend you to open your calendar and write down important dates, such as due dates for big assignments or exams from the syllabus on your calendar as soon as possible. And here's another key, which is to make up your own due dates for finishing assignments or preparation for exams. I usually put those due dates 3 to 7 days prior to the actual due dates, so that in case if you get family emergency or not feeling well, you are still able to make it for the actual due dates. This method was proven to work by my own experience. My first semester in the DNP program was one of the hardest semesters I ever experienced in my whole student life. I was working as a full-time nurse practitioner at a community health center, seeing my own patients, as well as patients of my colleague who was on maternity leave at that time. I was taking 12 credits at the time. And remind you, 9 credit is considered full-time for grad schools, so I was taking 3 credits more than the full-time for grad school. And that was because I didn't have any other choice. And all those 4 classes were super demanding. But somehow I was able to have 2 trips to Japan during that crazy semester, which included an unexpected trip to attend my grandma's funeral. And even with the 2 trips, I was able to get A's for all of those 4 classes. And I definitely think it was because I set my own due dates for the assignments earlier than the actual dates from the start. So I had some flexibility in scheduling, even with the tight work and study schedule. This is also related to studying syllabus thoroughly. So after many years of being a student, I realized that I really need to focus on things that matters in terms of grading. For example, if the grading system heavily focuses on deducting points for grammatical mistakes on your paper, you want to make sure that you have plenty of time to proofread your paper, whether that will be by yourself, your family, friends, or tutors. If you get deducted 1 point out of 100 points every time you make even a small grammatical mistakes, and the point deductions is unlimited. Even if you spend a lot of time to come up with the great idea for the paper, if you don't pay attention to your grammar and get 25 points deducted because of the small grammatical mistakes, you're gonna get less than 75% of the paper, even if the content is excellent. This is particularly important for international students because English is not our first language and the US schools are very strict on grammatical mistakes. Grading system is usually written in syllabus, and you really want to get information on grading as soon as possible in the beginning of semester. And make sure ask questions directly to the instructors if there is something that you are not clear, because it really matters. I strongly believe that you should never submit your paper without having someone to proofread your paper. Because again, even if the content is amazing, you may lose a huge portion of grade for silly grammatical mistakes or incorrect citation. You can have your friends, partner, or family to proofread your paper, and that's absolutely helpful. My partner had to proofread my paper so many times, and he was so helpful. But I also would highly recommend to utilize tutor service, especially those who are not expert in APA citation. If you are a nursing student in the US, I believe you heard the devil word, APA. For those who never heard of the word, it is a citation style that nursing professionals must follow. As grammatical mistakes in APA citation can cause devastating deduction in grades, so I highly recommend to get help from tutors to make sure that you are citing correctly. Most of the universities in the US offer free tutoring service. I always use free tutoring services offered by my schools. If those are not available, I think paying out of pocket to hire a writing tutor is worth it. And again, here comes planning. So after I set my own due dates for completing assignments prior to the actual due dates, I schedule tutor appointments as early as possible, which comes at least a few days prior to those dates that I plan to finish those assignments, meaning that I plan to submit those assignments, so that I have enough time to correct my mistakes. Those are pointed out by my tutors. I don't recommend to wait to schedule appointments with tutors until you actually finish your draft full paper, because by the time many appointments might have been already taken, and appointments you get may not fit your schedule, or you may not be able to schedule any appointments prior to the actual due dates. Having study group is extremely helpful in many ways. Study group members will share information that you might have missed during classes, and then help you to find useful resources while you do them that help them also. And the most beneficial thing to have a study group or study buddies is to have a moral support from them. Going through nurse practitioner school is a unique experience, and it is very hard. And not many people would truly understand what you're going through until you actually experience that on their own. Having someone who understands the struggle and go through that with you is priceless. And I still am in touch with multiple classmates that I met in nurse practitioner programs to this date. This is also extremely important. Nurse practitioner school is physically and mentally challenging, especially if you have other duties such as working, taking care of your children, and you often feel overwhelmed and stressed out. As you are a nursing professional, I'm sure you have educated your patients to eat healthy, exercise often, and sleep well to maintain their health, but it is extremely difficult to actualize that in your life with your nurse practitioner schools. But if you overstress yourself and don't take care of yourself, you will burn out and you will not be able to successfully complete a nurse practitioner program. While I was in grad schools, I always make sure that I go surfing at least 1 to 2 times a week, no matter how busy I was, because I knew that it is extremely important for my physical and mental health. My social life was it was none, except for my partner, but I was determined to prioritize my time for surfing because I knew that it's important for me. And again, this is why planning is so crucial. Because you plan to finish assignments earlier than actual due dates and actually get to finish them earlier, you can now fully enjoy whatever you enjoy, like in my case surfing, freely without worrying about whether you will make it for the actual due dates for the assignments or exams. I hope this video was helpful to you. Nurse practitioner schools are hard, but it's absolutely worth the struggle. I have many other videos about building nurse practitioner careers, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Good luck!